Morning, fellas. How you doing?
What's up, John?
Hello, John.
Doing great. We're getting closer and closer to that time of year.
We got about 19 days until Selection Sunday.
But who's counting?
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, I was very disappointed in the Terps on Sunday. Wisconsin's beatable. They're a terrible free throw shooting team. Terrible. They didn't play very well in the first half. Maryland has a 6-point lead. And then for some reason, I don't know what happened to Maryland in the second half. I mean, obviously Melo played his ass off, but nobody else could do anything. I want to take back something I said about, a month ago. I said Justin Jackson will be a lottery pick. He has been terrible. He has been terrible since the Minnesota game. He can't even – someone as long and as athletic as he is, John, he can't get to the rim. He can't finish. I don't know what it is about him. And now they lose Tchaikovsky. Maryland's going to win their home games probably. They play Minnesota, Iowa, and Michigan State. They might lose to State, but Maryland fans can't be happy about what happened Sunday and, of course, the injury to Tchaikovsky.
Well, teams that, have a chance to maybe do damage in the NCAA tournament based on what they do away from home. And Maryland has not had that signature win away from College Park. Obviously, they had a great performance last week against Northwestern, but with all due respect to Northwestern, they're not put in the same wavelength as a Wisconsin. So Maryland, again, has had an outstanding season under Mark Turgeon, but still I think we're all questioning how far the team can really go in March right now.
What do you think about the Big Ten in general? How many teams you like?
The Big Ten, the Big Ten guys have just been decimated by injuries, and I've said this, on multiple platforms. When you really split the atom, look at what's happened in the Big Ten this season. Michigan State lost its top two front court players, Gavin Schilling and also Ben Carter, to season-ending injuries. They didn't play a game. They also lost Aaron Harris on Saturday at Purdue. Indiana lost OG Anunoby and Colin Hartman to season-ending injuries, so they've been decimated. And, everybody you talk about, in terms of Ohio State, would always go back to the same player, and that's Keita Bates-Diop, and he was their best defender. He goes down to a season-ending ankle injury. So the Big Ten had three teams suffer severe injuries, and I think that's a big reason why you kind of see this hodgepodge after Wisconsin, Purdue, Maryland, and Northwestern.
Did you have a problem with Turge pulling Melo with 6 minutes to play?
I was a little surprised considering how much of the offense, that Melo was generating. But Mark Turgeon has won a lot more games than, I have, and obviously you guys as well. So we can't really question him. I mean, the guy right now, in my opinion, has done an outstanding job considering what he lost last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, ACC. Virginia can't throw the ball in the ocean. They have lost, 5 of 6. Lose again last night to Miami in an overtime game. They can only score 48. They've got one player averaging in double figures.
And that's with overtime, 48.
Correct. And that's Parantes, and Parantes was 2 for 15 last night. Obviously Virginia wants to play those low-scoring games. They want to score 60. If they score 60, they feel like they can beat you. But, man, they can't even get to 50 lately. What's going on with them?
No, well, I think what we're seeing right now is how limited Virginia is, and we have to obviously remind everybody that when Virginia had put this team together and they were planning for the season, they were planning with the idea that we were going to see Austin Nichols in the low post, and Austin Nichols was going to be a potential all-ACC player. He hasn't played. He hasn't contributed. He's no longer a part of that program. So Tony Bennett and his staff had to recalibrate things on the fly because a guy that was supposed to be a key cog in their attack hasn't been available. So that's a big thing you have to look at.
Yeah, huge.
Are they still safe to get in the tournament? They have 18 wins, I believe.
Yeah, their RPI is really high.
Yeah, no, the RPI is really high. And guys, I've, been very outspoken about this on, multiple forums. The ACC numbers-wise this year is better than any league that we've seen in the history of college basketball. And I just want to point out what I mean by that. When you look at the most representation that a league had in the NCAA tournament, it was the 2011 Big East when that conference got 11 teams into the field. Now, the big difference between this year's ACC and the Big East in 2011 is the quality of teams at the bottom. In 2011, the Big East bottom 4 teams were combined 3-45 against the 11 teams that made the NCAA tournament. And one of those victories came when Rutgers beat Villanova on a 4-point play with 0.8 of a second left. You could make the argument that the Big East was nearly 2-46, the bottom 4 of the Big East in 2011. And now you look at this year's ACC. The 13th place team in this conference, Pittsburgh, has won a game at Maryland by 14, has beaten Marquette on a neutral court, has beaten Virginia, has beaten Syracuse, and beaten Florida State, and also has two of the league's top three scorers in Jamel Artis and Mike Young.
Wow.
The 14th place team in this league, NC State, has won a game against Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Now, you can say whatever you want about, the leagues, but you can't argue the depth, and that's why I've said this really all season right now. The ACC this year, top to bottom, is the best league in the history of the sport.